Oil, is this about deflation? We had an excellent discussion in this seminar on oil. I think somebody said it was going to go to $12 and there's a $10,000 bet on the table. Oh, this is not about deflation. This is about liquidation. Okay? We're not in a deflation yet. We may end up in a deflation, but we're not yet. And the question is, can OPEC really stop the energy decline by cutting production? Maybe, maybe not. OPEC cheats. Okay? They cheat each other. So it's good when it's going up, but when it's coming down, they all want to keep the thing going. The IEA said yesterday, this was actually a week ago, the International Energy Agency said yesterday that in spite of the fact that there's tremendous demand destruction, there's no doubt about that, this is overdone, and that the rate of decline in the world's 800 oil fields that they measured is 9% per year. They say that again. In the 800 oil fields that the IEA measured in their latest report, the rate of decline, so there's this, as was rightly pointed out, peak oil versus demand destruction argument going on here. It depends on which side of the thing you come down on as to when oil goes back. But oil will go back. This is hurtful because I spend a lot of time in the Canadian junior sector, and I mean, what can you say? This is about a 70% destruction in this sector. And this isn't about fundamentals. Let's make sure we understand that. That was brought up well at lunch also. This is about liquidation. The International Energy Agency, I guess I went over this, but the important thing here is that November the 5th, oil was $65.90, now $57 and change. But they believe in 2008 to 2015 time frame, oil will go back to more than $100, and by 2030, oil will be $200. You know, and the damage now is that a lot of projects in alternative energy that should be being done are probably not going to get done. And that's a pity. That's a pity. Because that really needs to happen. Where to from here? Well, the equity market will bottom. We haven't hit an interim bottom now. At one point, some people thought we had. I want you to believe this is a liquidation, not a deflation. House prices must bottom. As soon as house prices bottom, we're going to have some stability in the financial system, and when they do, banks will begin to lend. So, but we are now in a dangerous situation, and Dr. Bernanke at the Federal Reserve recognizes this dangerous situation. We are now perched on a deflation-inflation fulcrum. Bernanke and the Fed will do everything they can to tip towards inflation. I mean, they're going to print, they're going to do whatever they can do, they're going to provide credit, and so if they're successful, you're going to have inflation, and you're going to want to own things, as Dennis Gartman always says, that hurt when they fall on your feet. But we do need to have a new international currency regime. This is something the OECD 20 will fail at. They will not do this. They will not do this. In fact, what they will do is they will they'll gain some credibility from their meetings, and they'll allow the U.S. for certain rights to devalue our currency again so we can pay back in cheaper dollars. Watch. The dollar is going to go down again at some point. Taxes will have to wait. Taxes will have to wait, or the recession will be deep and very long. The FDIC and the Obama administration will delay foreclosures and help defaulting homeowners for a few months. This is going to cost us somewhere around $5 or $10 trillion. This is a global recession. Let me talk for just 5 minutes about some discovery plays, because you know I do discovery investing, and I'd do you a disservice if I didn't talk about that. What am I doing now? I'm looking at advanced. I get excited when I get up here. I'm looking at advanced resource, high-tech, and biotech opportunities. So I'm diversifying a little bit away from resources. They've got to be strong management, and they've got to have good balance sheets, strong enough to weather this storm. They've got to have world-class discovery assets. There are 5 things I'll talk about today. I own all of these. I'm not a consultant to them. Parkwick is processing tin tailings in China, very low risk, very high potential cash flows. Quatera Resources, I own 2 million shares of Quatera. Molybdenum, copper, uranium, silver, and gold in North America and Mexico also. Senesco Technologies, I mentioned at lunch, one of my favorite biotechs, cancer and diabetes programs. Houston Lake Mining, which presented here this morning, gold in the Kenora, the famous Kenora gold region of northern Ontario, which we went up and saw last year. And Valcent Products, which have a new technique for producing algae. Parkwick, China, is China. There are 17 tailing sites in China with tin tailings, very high-grade tailings requiring processing, approximately 246 million tonnes, long tons of 0.32% tin on the surface. There's no mining here. This stuff is on the surface. It has to be processed. Under these circumstances today, these kinds of projects make sense, because the capital expenditure is very much smaller and the risks are smaller. There's more than 1.5 billion pounds of tin, and the company reckons it can extract half of that. They have a JV deal with the largest tin producer in the world, called Yunnan Tin. 1.8 billion in revenue. Yunnan Tin had 1.8 billion in revenue in 2007, and this region produces 43% of the world output of tin. The tailings have been created for the past 200 years. They've never been processed. At $5 per pound of tin, the asset value of Parkwick is about 430 million. At $12 per pound, the asset value is $1 billion. There's immediate cash flow. There's no mining risk, and the technology is off the shelf. It's a good one, and I really like it, and I'm in it. Hong Kong Parkwick Technology, a joint venture company with Yunnan Tin, processed 246 million tons of 0.3 to 0.4 tin tailings. Has a 20-year operating license, has a 20-year supply agreement, offtake, if you will. Now, what's the risk? The risk is China. The risk is China. But these are the kinds of things I think you need to be looking at now. Quatera Resources, I've probably talked about this so many times. Stock was $4.15 in March, it's 60 cents now. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They have the potential for 1 billion pounds of molybdenum. If you don't know what molybdenum is, you've got to have it to make good steel for nuclear plants and for lots of other things. At Cave Peak, they got it for no stock at $200,000 from formerly Union Carbide, now Chevron. They have 30 million ounces. They have a 43-101 on 30 to 40 million ounces of open pit silver in Mexico. They have a 43-101 coming in December on oxide copper, which is leachable, 1 to 5 billion pounds of copper. In Nevada, near Yarrington, they have discovered 4 blind pipes on the Arizona Strip that contain uranium. These pipes do not come to the surface. They found a way, and they have 200 other targets. And they have a gold project at Las Americas and Durango. 1 or 2 or some of these are going to get, and the stock is ridiculously undervalued at 60 cents. Senesco Technologies has discovered a gene called factor 5A1. Been around for 5 years, 18.7 million shares outstanding. Trade on the American Stock Exchange. They control cell death, programmed cell death. They can turn that gene up and kill cancer cells. They've done it in the test tube. They've done it in mice. They've had remission in all types of cancer in mice. There will be in human cancer tests in the second quarter of 2009. They have done successful transplantation of islet cells for type 1 diabetes, and they use the same gene technology to turn the switch up on algae and Jatropha, which are 2 methods of producing biodiesel. Go to the website, have a look, see for yourself. Stock sells for 90 cents. Houston Lake Mining, well, you've heard that story, so I'm not going to berate it, but this has got some really high-grade gold discoveries in northern Ontario near the famous Kenora mining camp. I mean, they're back in there. The Dubensky hole, DB0809, 22 meters of an ounce of gold. We had a lot of fun up there last year, I must say, and I must thank my kind host, Eric and Rich, the rest of them. Catching fish was fun, but going up there, this is the Dog Paw Vein 1, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Graham. And there you see Graham Anthony standing on the Dog Paw Vein, and I think there's above 50,000 ounces. Am I right with Dog Paw? About 50,000 ounces potential of Dog Paw? Okay. This stock's selling for 32 cents. Give me a break.